Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for the chance to be here. I am Matt Grabowsky, and I'm the CEO for Immerge Labs, where we're using virtual and augmented reality to reimagine how the world prepares for emergencies. So the emergency preparation market is broad, and there's emergencies going on around the world in many different ways. But the one that we're focused on initially is one of the biggest opportunities to save life and one of the most dramatic, which is sudden cardiac arrest fatalities. Now, here in the US, every year about 550,000 people will be struck down by a sudden cardiac arrest that occurs outside the hospital setting. And in 88% of those instances, it's fatal. Now, how does that compare in scope to other public health crises? If you look at lung cancer, breast cancer, Alzheimer's disease, HIV, and diabetes, sudden cardiac arrest will kill more Americans this year than those 5 diseases combined. The difference between those devastating diagnoses and conditions and this one is that this is something that you, or anyone who's been trained in CPR and is mentally prepared to step up and perform it, can drastically improve the survival odds for a loved one, a friend, a coworker, or even a total stranger. The sad part of this scenario is that about 35% of people who have out-of-hospital sudden cardiac arrest will receive some kind of bystander intervention. And depending on the neighborhood in which you're struck down, that response rate can be drastically lower. Now, public health research has clearly shown that the #1 reason that bystanders who do not step up to provide an intervention cite for not doing so is a simple lack of confidence in their skills. So, this is unfolding in a country where people are working to prepare. As a matter of fact, 12 million Americans will go through formal CPR certification programs this year and every year going forward. So the problem in our founder, Marion Leary, she's a nationally renowned resuscitation scientist at the University of Pennsylvania conducting research in and around multiple emergency response scenarios, is not that CPR doesn't work. We know that CPR works and saves lives. But what we suspect is that the way we're training people isn't working. The fatality rates are not going down despite all the effort put into training and preparation. Optimized, universal availability of CPR and preparedness to deliver it, 195,000 lives per year can be sustained and prolonged. So knowing that the #1 reason people aren't stepping up to provide CPR is that they lack confidence, realizing that the certification program's current state is a 4-hour time commitment and about a $100 investment per person, and that these programs have evolved slowly over the last 50 years with little to no real drastic disruptive innovation, and that they're conducted in sterile classrooms that are completely devoid of any stress or emotion that you experience in a real-life emergency. Immerge Labs exists to grow the market for first CPR and then other emergency scenarios so that we can offer lower cost, shorter duration training experiences that are drastically more effective. So our solution, while we too are advocates and evangelists for virtual reality and augmented reality, is really about something simpler and more basic. And that's giving people an opportunity to learn by doing, using this new cutting edge technology. So we call that experience virtual teachable moments. Our system is an elegant three-part process that only takes 12 to 15 minutes of total elapsed time. Basically, we drop people immediately into a scenario that they are not previously prepared for. So they're not told why something's important, told how to do something, shown how to do it, and then finally given a chance to do it. We drop them in and say, save a life in this virtual reality game environment. The observational research being done at the University of Pennsylvania to be published later this year is finding about 90% of participants fail to provide any kind of intervention that would actually improve the survival odds of the simulated victim. We co-locate a real CPR mannequin in the play space, exactly where the avatar collapses, so that when you go to check on the victim in the game, you get instant feedback, and you're able to begin providing life-saving compressions if you know CPR technique. What we do is, since 9 out of 10 people don't do a good job, they know that. They feel it in their gut. When they take the goggles off, they're visibly upset in most instances. And we immediately second them and review a video playback of their own scenario. What that does is allows us to give a coaching narrative that's about 2/3 contextual encouragement and 1/3 technical critique. After that, we used 2 Microsoft micro training videos, Red Cross training videos that take about 3 minutes each, and that allows us to provide an experience that takes about 12 minutes compared to 240 minutes. And we've been field testing that with friends of ours at Microsoft and the American Red Cross. So we've been working in store with both Microsoft employees and the general public, and measuring 2 things in participant surveys, both before they have our experience and after. First, we ask them about their willingness to intervene on a 5-point scale. And what we're finding is that after a 12-minute experience, that's improving by a healthy 17%. But on the issue that most people cite for failing to act, confidence in their CPR skills, we're increasing the reported confidence levels by 61% in a scant 12 minutes. So we have a provisional patent pending that Penn filed last April 2017. It's covering the unique elements of how we're stitching together our algorithms, real-world accessories like the mannequin, and the data collected from sensors embedded within them. We also use that patent to cover this application that's built on cutting-edge technology. Let me show you a quick demo. We're using the Microsoft HoloLens to collect data from a Laerdal mannequin that has 3 sensors in it that measures the pressure, the rate, and the depth of each compression. Our algorithm collects that data and then uses it to render in real time blood flow of oxygenated blood through the circulatory system of a hologram overlaid on a regular old rubber mannequin. You, in real time, see whether each of your compressions is doing a good job getting oxygenated blood to the brain or not. And at the end, we tally up a score on a 100-point scale using an industry-approved algorithm. So both while you're doing compressions, you're finding out how good a job you're doing. If you move from the 3rd to the 4th rib, you can see whether that's a better or worse compression. If you straighten your elbows more, better or worse, and you learn in real time. So let's talk about the business side of this. The market opportunity here is going to grow in lockstep with the adoption of virtual reality and augmented reality hardware. The content market overall is projected to grow at an astounding 90% compounded annual growth rate over the next 7 years, and we anticipate growing with it. In addition, we've compiled our own assessment of both published market data and market by market, US, EU, Chinese, and Japanese market factors to come up with a US market of $400 million in the next 4 years and a rest of world market of $925 million for immersive emergency and medical training. So the market will be on order of $1.3 billion in about 5 years, and we are already having conversations with potential licensees in Israel. Our CTO right now is in Shenzhen, China, where he's in conversations with a large retail operation there that's providing CPR training in a retail environment. And we've also, tonight I've got a dinner with the innovation directors from the health ministry in Australia, who we've been introduced through a friend in our accelerator. All right, so lastly, I'll talk about our business model. We've got currently we're using paid proof of concept and executive primers. We've had 4 paying customers in the last 2 months since we started offering professional services to use our VR beta applications to show executives exactly what the difference is between virtual reality, mobile virtual reality, and augmented reality. We're earning between $1,800 and $7,500 per day doing this, and 2 of those customers have been Fortune 100 companies. What we're looking to do next is compile our software so we can sell it directly to training professionals, whether they're in an HR organization of a large institution or corporation, or they're running their own professional service firm going out and providing life safety health training. At that point, we will compile our software and sell it at $1,900 per installation with a 30% annual recurring maintenance and licensing fee to ensure that we can keep up with changes in the hardware market. But the big revenue opportunity is going direct to consumer. In our participant surveys, we're finding that 90% of the people who go through our CPR experience are willing to buy a mobile version of it to share with their friends, family, and loved one if it's priced between $5 and $10. In addition, we're talking to different Fortune 500 companies about corporately sponsoring those events. To do all this, we're looking for capital on the order of $1.75 million to fund us through the middle of 2019. We'll use that money to do 3 things. First we'll close the deals with distribution partners, potentially the Red Cross that we have well underway, and some of the and as well as some of the potential corporate sponsors who are interested in having campaigns. Second thing we'll do is we'll need to compile our software from beta state to freestanding software that we can sell out into that training market and tap into the multi-billion-dollar existing corporate training budgets that exist in this country and around the world. And then the third thing we'll do is build our first expansion into a peripheral disease category or emergency state. And that'll largely be driven by the priorities of our distribution partner and or corporate sponsors. So we've compiled a great team. Marion Leary is our founder. She's got 3 different jobs at Penn and has a national reputation for excellence and innovation in life-saving techniques. Our friends at the Center for Resuscitation Science and the Penn Center for Innovation provide us tons of support with our outreach events and are a wellspring of concepts that we can commercialize. I've been working in and around academic medical centers for about 15 years and have a turnarounds bend to what I do. And I've been involved with about 5 previous startups, including one that came out of the Columbia Business School, Entrepreneurial Greenhouse. So, hi, Columbia. Going. So thanks again. Yep.